Hi guys, Elliot here. Hope everybody's doing well. Didn't get a chance to record a video this weekend as I was out and about, so I thought I'd get one in now. Yeah, I've been putting in a little bit more volume at 50 Zoom recently, um, so we're starting to get a better idea of who the regs are, who the fish are, who the nits are, who the passive players are, etc., etc. And yeah, I think a lot of that, like understanding the player profiles. I think it does play a pretty key part in maintaining a decent win rate in these micro stakes games. Um, like a pretty clear example is when you have like your GTO 3-bet ranges, um, and sort of like, three betting the bottom of that range into like the biggest nit in the pool probably doesn't make a whole ton of sense just because like you're going to get a 4-bet a lot and stuff like that. So these are all things that I've been thinking about. But yeah, so far so good. I'll probably go through some of my results just for this month at the end of the session. It's not been too bad, ups and downs. So on the right here, I think we'll start with a half pot bet. We won't be betting range on 10-4 deuces, I don't think, but I think half pot seems fine. You could exploitatively just bet smaller with top set here, but I think this is fine. So obviously we boat up, really nice turn card. Here we can do checking or betting. Now this player is pretty passive. So I think I like check a bit more, bet a bit more even. Yeah, I think this is fine. Because if we check, I don't think he's going to bluff enough or value bet thinly enough. So we'll see what he does here. And yeah, I also recently saw that Ginge Poker released the strategy from his course. King 8 off here on a 10. We will 3-bet this one. Important not to miss these sort of junky 3-bets blind on blind and big blind versus button as well. Really good board for our range here on the left. I think we'll just start with a small bet and probably just go all the way here. We block some 9-8-2, which is nice. Yeah, so I saw Ginge released the strategy, which is pretty interesting. For those of you who don't know, I did the Ginge Poker Academy 2 or 3 years ago now. So it was like the first major poker strategy that I learned. And literally that video, I'll put a link in it below, but that video is literally the strategy that we learn, give or take a few sort of adjustments. But the whole idea of c-betting 100% in position for a small size, only using a couple of sizes on turn, things like that, all very simple. And that is, to be fair to him, how Ginge plays poker. Now, what people don't realize with that Ginge Poker Academy is that you had King 4 as an open, especially with the fish. So you had the poker side of things, but you also had the peak performance side, which open here, check here. Yeah, so the peak performance side was all about how you optimize your brain, for poker, whether that's meditation, diet, gym, cold showers, all of that good stuff. And that was really worth its weight in gold for me. Like I learned so much during that process about diet, and I mean I like to keep in shape anyway. But yeah, learning about all of that was just fantastic. And I know, yeah, Ginge gets a lot of stick, it seems, sometimes. We could maybe value bet this one on the left, but I think we'll just check. He gets a lot of stick, but he's a good guy, and I think if you're looking for an academy or a course that's very theory heavy and you really want to understand like the ins and outs of poker, then I think Ginge would probably say himself that course isn't for you. But if you're sort of like a beginner player, like I was at the time, sort of struggling to beat 5NL, 10NL, like these kind of games, then I would say it's probably worth it in terms of strategy. But that there are lots of different resources out there as well. which you can obviously go to, but that's just sort of my 2 cents. Versus the massive overbet here, I think it's just actually a pretty clear fold. I don't think this makes too much sense, and I'm not going to call for the chop. I think honestly we just get shown a 7 too much here. So yeah, that was great. And then you had Stephen Morris as well, who was one of like the head coaches in the academy, and he did something called the Refinement Factory, which was basically taking that initial strategy, which you can see on YouTube, and refining it. So you're sort of looking at different bet sizes on the flop and things like that. And I think really just getting a bit more into the more, yeah, like just refining it. So understanding, why you're doing it, different bet sizes, how different turns, change strategy, things like that. And there was a lot of value in there as well. So in my view, overall, it's a course that for me certainly served its purpose. But yeah, if you're fold, yeah, but if you're somebody, to be honest, who's beating 25-50 NL, I actually wouldn't recommend it. I'm not even sure if Ginge is still selling it or what the situation is, but yeah, I would say, yeah, very basic strategy for beginner poker players is how I'd. That's where the most value is, basically, for people looking to buy it. But yeah, I've recently started to do a little bit of work with Pio myself, so yeah, really starting to understand more of the mechanics of the game, for want of a better word. That's all good stuff. I think easy fold on the right here, and we'll 3-bet the aces. Yeah, what else? Yeah, I've been thinking more and more about what I want to do with this channel. I do like doing the play and explains, but I think, to put it bluntly, like the way that I'm playing here, while it obviously will be similar to how I play when I'm not recording, there are different exploits and things that you can do to really take advantage of these pools, which I won't be really like going into too much during these recordings. Not in love with the size on the left. I guess versus pot, I guess we can call one. I think the fish here could still be doing this with overpairs. So yeah, but yeah, we'll see where we take it. Whether I keep on doing the play and explains, whether I pivot the content somewhere else, whether it's a mix of poker, fitness, all sorts of things, and we'll see. But for now, I'm enjoying doing it, and like a lot of the feedback that I'm getting from people, and some of the guys in the pool say hi and stuff, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, it's good to know that people are watching it, but at the same time, I don't want to give away too much stuff. Not that I'm a big crusher or anything, but you guys know what I mean. Difference between 25 NL and 50 NL. The standard in 50 NL seems better. From what I've seen so far, 50 seems, still quite tight, but it's not as like nitty as that 25 Zoom pool. I remember when I first started playing like Zoom, I think we'll say 2.5 years ago. It was super easy, but I'm not sure what's happened over like the past couple of years. I think maybe it's like all of the content that's out there or what, but it's like people are sort of poorly misapplying things they've learned, and it's just made for like a really really nitty game, which sucks, to be honest. But it is what it is. On the left here, easy fold. And also at 50, you do seem to get a few more sort of fish as well. It's not like the stand is like that much better or it's that much harder. So ace queen 3, pretty interesting board. So I think if it was ace king 3, we could overbet on the queen, cutoff versus button. I'm not sure whether we want to do any overbetting, but what we will do is start with a large size, and we'll 4-bet on the left. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll quickly get that hand up. because there was a spot the other day where I punted pretty hard, where I think it was cut off big blind. It was like ace king seven. I B150 flop, then checked out afterwards, and it just prefers a large bet rather than an overbet. And I think we're mainly going to be using overbet when we do have that big nut advantage. But I think here big blind doesn't always overbet, doesn't always 3-bet their ace queen, which reduces the nut advantage. But yeah, I'm going to look more into exactly how this spot works, because I know that I did blast off the other day pretty heavily. But I think that's the idea behind it. But I do know, yeah, that overbets obviously just us pushing our range and nut advantage when our villain is capped just simply through his pre-flop actions. King 9 fold. 9 deuce fold. Queen 4's close. I guess we'll open it. Can't go too far wrong. I think opening wide is never too bad. King 9-6 on the left. Interesting board. I think okay, he leads out. Already not in love here, but we can't fold yet. When the ace comes, I think it hits us nicely, and I'd expect them to keep on betting, so I am actually going to bluff this one and just give up river. And I don't mind a little overbet here exploitatively, actually. And when he calls, I actually don't mind shove here. It doesn't raise flop. I think he's pretty capped overall. So let's just try this. Could be a punt, but I think it should work enough for the time. And he snap folds. 8-5-3. Start with the check. I think we can bet this board sometimes too. We can have a look at this hand here. On a 2, we will 3-bet the ace queen. And on the left, versus the 2x pot, we'll just fold. On the left here versus the fish, we'll just start with a C bet, like half pot. Actually, it doesn't really matter against the fish. We'll just bet a third with range. Let me get some min raised here. The min raise is usually pretty strong. I think I'm just going to fold. Jack 9 deuce against Kungen, who's one of the tighter players in the pool. I remember him from 25 as well. We can do a few things here. I think we are definitely going to bet, and I think we can just bet with the range. Half pot's probably a thing here as well. And on the left, we'll just start with the range bet on Queen 6 deuce. Kungen raises. I think we just get this in, but I'm not happy about it. It's just this guy plays like 15-11, super tight. But I think just getting the money in now before the board gets ropey is fine. Okay. Happy to take that one down. I guess the issue there is like if we jam from a play like that, or are we really getting called by that's worse? Ace Jack, I guess, some draws. But again, I think that's fine. You know, we don't need to think too hard to beat these stakes. I think, yeah, right now we're just trying to build up to get to 100, then hopefully back up to 200. Yeah, so here at the bottom, so you open Queen 4, which is pretty loose. That's going quickly, bloody hell. Fold on the left. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to set out of these tables while we explain this bottom one, what my thinking was. My computer's so bad, it's always so slow when I'm recording. 877. I think we play big bets, maybe even over bets or checks. So we're just quite polarized on this turn when we do open the betting. I think we just want to check here. He's still got better ace-x. And now I think we have a clear value bet. Hopefully he's maybe picked up some like 10-9 or something. I think this is just fine. I expect him to bet most of his ace-x on the turn for sure. Nice. Yeah, so here, pretty interesting. So we open cut off, small blind calls, big blind calls. So he bets pot, which we're not in love with straight away. Big blind calls, doesn't raise, which is interesting. And obviously with our flush draw, we have to call here, queen high flush draw, so we make the call. Now, yeah, small blind and big blind check here on the ace. So when this Ricky guy, who's obviously a recreational player, check, so it caps his range. So at best, he's got just a king, okay? Big blind doesn't bet, even though he's called this bet. So again, it feels like he's a bit more draw heavy. But yeah, he doesn't show any more aggression either. Now again, you know, here the ace does hit us quite nicely and we can just start to put a lot of aggression on. Multi-way, I don't necessarily like the overbet. I think a B75 probably gives us like the same result here. But I think they've both just capped their ranges quite a lot here. So I think this is fine. It's really putting the pressure on. And I thought that if we miss diamonds, we're not really going to be bluffing river, like unblocking, blocking a lot of the folds with the queen of diamonds. But small blind folds, which we expect, and big blind calls, which is pretty interesting. And the 9 is I guess it's not that bad a card. Like it reduces any sets that the big blind could have, although I don't think he really has many here. And again, I just think because he's capped, even though we've got pretty terrible blockers here, I think we can just put on max pressure and make him fold out like a king or I don't know what he could have. I think he's mainly got just a lot of king x here when he calls flop. And I think when the ace comes and the way the board runs out, we can just pretty easily get him off those. So I'm actually pretty happy with that play, but not necessarily something that I do all the time or something that's necessarily theoretically good. But like I said in a few videos now, I'm not super concerned about what's theoretically good in these stakes. Interesting spot though. I think that's a nice example of actually thinking about the game and not necessarily, you know, what's GTO. Because I've definitely fallen down that GTO trap quite a few times. But GTO is pretty fun at the same time, trying to learn it all. King, Queen, we can 3-bet or flat. Flat this time. Flop, top pair. He bets big here, which is fine. I think. Easy call. Good turn for our range here. We expect him to slow down, I think, a fair bit on this turn. But for those of you who haven't seen it, that Ginge poker strategy, I will put the link to his video in the comments just so you can see it, because it is super interesting. And you guys can, judge for yourselves what you think of the strategy. Not in love with this pot size here, to be honest. I mean, obviously we don't really want to raise. I think I call one more and just fold rivers, but I'm not in love with it. But I think we've got a call here. We're 26.9. That's going to make the fold. Seems super nitty, but super passive player. Big bet flop. Bad turn for him. Pots it. I don't want to mess around too much. So making that call might be fine in terms of GTO. Like, it is a call, you know, based on the solver. But it's already marginal, and it already feels sort of break even in that spot, right? So I just fold. Like, those spots aren't where we're going to make our money. And yeah, fine, it feels nitty. But we're going to make, you know, more money in our pre-flop game, in other spots like this down here, where we're just thinking about it a bit more than some of the other players. So, you know, there's no shame. There's no shame in folding, guys. Like, calling there, then him, like, let's say he pots river. You know, although we're worrying about something that we don't necessarily know would have happened. But it's just very uncomfortable. And we're probably going to end up folding. King 9, we can mix. Even though we rolled an 80, I think I'll just 3-bet this one for the video. Pretty tight player, quite a high fold to 3-bet as well, but this time we get punished. And Jack 4 off here on the right. I don't think we ever 3-bet that one. Go for like another 5 minutes or so. I think we've had some pretty good spots come up so far. 5-3 deuce, I think high frequency checking board, especially multi-way. Don't think we want to build any raise here on the 7. I think it's just a pretty easy call. Big blind's got all the sets here, some 2 pairs as well, which we're never going to have. And we have some showdown value, so we beat like King, Queen of Diamonds, Queen, Jack of Diamonds, all of that stuff. Yeah, I think we just have enough showdown value here. I don't think we need to do anything. I'm trying to think exploitatively. Bets big. No, I don't think so. I think when he gives up on the 7, we have enough showdown value for sure. Nice. Yeah, hopefully soon we'll be able to get back up to 100. And yeah, take it from there. I'm not quite at the level of the Jarrett man playing explains yet, but you know, hopefully we'll get there one day. King Queen off will open. 9-8 close here. We'll call it. Guy's quite tight, but I think it's pretty close. I think it's fine. On the left, we'll start with check this time. Just mix it up against the fish here. Players tend to make quite a lot of mistakes against checkbacks of these stakes, I've noticed. I guess we call on the left here. Pretty bad turn for us. And now we'll just bet, try and get some value from God knows what. When they check back, turn there, they're just super capped. All of their top pairs going to bet. A lot of their strongest draws are going to bet. So when they check back, they've just got nothing. And that's not just the fish. That's a lot of, I don't want to say too much, but a lot of the regs in the pool are doing that as well. Easy fold on the left. Set out next big blind. Pocket nines on a 12 here. We will actually 3-bet. And ace 9, easy fold. I think this guy's a reg. Sometimes, like, it says 21-14, but sometimes the hand to know stats are a bit off. So Queen Jack 3, pretty interesting board. He's going to have some ace queen suited, some ace jack. So are we. I've got to think whether nines is betting. I think it's pretty indifferent here. I'll just go by the number. I think we're checking. I think we'll only be betting this like a quarter of the time or so, I'd say. And for me, the low numbers are going to be aggressive and the high numbers passive. On the right here, 7-6-3. And now on the left, I think it's just a fold in these positions. I think that's fine. I'll check it afterwards. Seems a bit passive though. 7-6-3. I think we can actually bet small on this board. I think it's fine. And fives on this table will open. Seems to be a lot of passive players. Oh, my bad. So the 9 doesn't change too much. I guess 10-8 gets there. I think an overbet's going to perform quite nicely here, but again, might not be a thing. Actually, I prefer B75. I think with the 8 of clubs and the jack's not blocking too many folds other than something like Queen Jack, which you might have floated on the flop. Now I don't see much point in betting. I think we'll check this one and hopefully win. Nice. It's always nice to have those overcards to the board as well as pair outs. So that's the end of the session. Let's see if I can see how we ended up. View stats. So I've played a few hands earlier today as well. So we're running above EV, which is nice. Here, red line's looking pretty solid. This session, how do I check? Stats. My session. Oh, the camera's gone a bit fuzzy. So we ended up $64 this session. Good stuff. My camera's gone fuzzy. It's telling me it's time to leave. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.